What is going on out there, everybody? And that's right. It's Expanded Perspectives. Well, I was going to say live, but we're not live, but we're on video. It's me, Cam Hale, and of course,
it's me, Kyle Filson.
the Big Fizzy, Freedom
Filson, Big Fizzy, whatever you want to call me. I'm here. I'm alive, doing well. Locked down in a quarantine. We thought this would be the best time to start playing with the gadgets that we purchased a little bit over a year ago.
Yep.
And we've been mentioning that we were going to do video at some point. So now we're kind of forced to. And this man over here, he's really been the one getting into it. So let him tell you about what we've been working with and what he has planned for the future.
I got in way over my head, way too fast, which is very, very easy to do
common,
because I'm really not smart enough to understand how this works, but I'm just piecing it together. So we're working with green screens, live streams. What we're planning on doing is something that we have discussed on the show several times, and it's finally coming to fruition, like Kyle alluded to with us being quarantined away. We are going to start with a live stream at the end of every month that covers what we've discussed the weeks before in that month on the show. We want
like a recap.
Yeah, exactly. Like the monthly recap of every episode of every show. But what we would like to do is that way we can put it out live. We can interact with all of y'all. You can send us questions in the live chat. You could send us emails, maybe for the next one that we decide to do. We're going to have it on YouTube. We're going to have it on Facebook. We're going to be able to interact with everybody. You can ask us questions, personal questions. If you got stuff you want to ask for us, you got stuff about the show, you got ideas, you got anything, we can try to cover and help share and just pretty much spend a quarantine time together so we can all get together and enjoy ourselves.
It'll be a fun place to kind of hang out because I can't tell you how many times we'll do a show. We'll cover a particular topic, and then the next 2 weeks we're flooded with emails where people had a similar experience or something they wanted to tell us that, they knew somebody that had something like that. And then we move on and we do a different topic the next week, and we never really got time to address all the listeners that emailed us about the topic we covered weeks ago. So now, by doing a recap every month, it'll give everybody a chance to not only listen to an episode, but then give their thoughts on the episode, or if they had similar experiences, then we can kind of bring that up on the recap. We might eventually, at some point, if we can figure out how to master this technology, how to bring other guests on. Like sometimes we interview people like Lyle Blackburn or Nick Redfern. And if we can figure out how to do that live in studio, not like a Google Hangouts thing or a split screen, we want to be able to do it in studio.
A live stream of live interviews.
Yeah. So that's our plan. That's our dream. You got to have a goal. And right now we want to be able to do a monthly recap, but we're still learning the technology. So it might kind of start slow and then build up.
Yep.
But we're all sitting here quarantined, locked down. Washing our hands every 30 minutes and looking at crazy sightings. You want to do some sightings today since we're here?
I would love to do one because I've read this and I cannot wait to share this.
Okay.
Because the minute I saw the picture, I thought of Cheeto fingers was the minute I saw this picture. So I'm going to start this. It's something I think everybody's going to get a
Cheeto
kick out
fingers.
of. Yeah. MM is the one that wrote this.
Okay.
Ended up emailing this in, and then I also see where he'd emailed it to Lon, of course, at Phantoms and Monsters, and Lon posted this up, I think it was sometime a week or so ago, about a Sasquatch with glowing fingers that startles hunters in Michigan, folks.
Okay, glowing fingers. Sasquatch is not scary enough. Then it has glowing fingers. Yeah, that would startle me whether you're a hunter or not.
Well, and it starts off saying 2 upland game hunters in Michigan were startled when a tall, bedded Sasquatch suddenly rose up out of the tall grass. Now, no offense, but if you're an upland game, like bird hunter, it's because you're a bad deer hunter. So here's how this goes. So here's how this goes, y'all. It says, I was pheasant hunting in 1988 in mid-Michigan. Joining me was my cousin and brother-in-law. We had one small section of field left to push. We were going to call it a day. My dog hit on a bird about 15 yards from the edge to the wood line. I gave her some advanced commands, and she slowly crept up on point. As she came in to jump the bird, a deep growl came from the tall grass where she was pointing. It was nothing like any of us had ever heard before or since, for that matter. I instantly backed my dog off from the point and had her tail between her legs. So the dog's panicking, of course, here. Yeah. Says, I remember seeing the grass start to bend at multiple spots, indicating to me that whatever had been bedding in that grass was very large. I said to the group, all right, let's back off and get the hell out of here. My brother-in-law, who is a different breed of idiot, said, bullshit. I'm going to shoot whatever that is.
Sounds like everybody's brother-in-law, right?
We've all got one of those brother-in-law. Lucky for me, I don't have one. I have 3 brother-in-laws that are this way here. Says, as he had just finished that sentence, up stood a Sasquatch, roughly, buckle up, folks, 8.5 to 9 feet tall. Now, it says he let out another growl that I have nightmares from still to this day. And I say he only because of the deep growl. I didn't see or don't remember seeing any identifying sex organs, so no genitals. It says the fingers on this thing seem to be glowing an amber orange color. What I tell you about the Cheetos, right?
Yeah, now it makes sense.
The hair was gray to reddish brown ends in color. Absolutely friggin' huge. We were frozen stiff. Literally could not get a word out of my mouth. It felt like an hour we stood there eye to eye with this thing. Then it walked into the woodline. The woods in that area were flat, and it was a younger forest with not many large girth trees. After it went into the shadows of the woodline, we followed behind to help us verify what we had just seen. But when we reached the woods, there was absolutely nothing to be seen. There were no sounds of walking, no birds, no squirrels, no Sasquatch anywhere. So we have an 8.5 to 9 foot tall glowing fingered Sasquatch that stood up, walked into the trees, and yet again vanishes
into thin air
the minute it gets into those tree lines. Again, is it the Glimmer Man? Does he put his Glimmer Man clothes on?
Is it extraterrestrial?
Is it passing between the boundaries of different offshoots of worlds?
Right.
Like, where's
exactly. And I like
where's it
sightings
go?
where it's not just one person, but multiple people saw the same thing. So you can't be like, I dozed off in the deer stand and I imagined that happened.
There's another thing too. And a lot of people, we get this every time we cover these stories.
Oh no, here we go.
Why didn't they shoot it? They had guns.
The brother-in-law was trying to.
The brother-in-law, it still goes back into, I wonder if you're so overwhelmed by what you're seeing, or are you wondering, is my shotgun going to do anything to it? Because if this thing can vanish into thin air,
that
what
would
if
be.
the shotgun does nothing to it? Like I remember watching, just recently, I watched, you remember the original Hellboy, right?
Yeah,
With Ron Perlman.
yeah.
And what is it? Rasmussen that's in it, that's full of sand.
Right.
And all these guys are unloading on this thing, and the sand starts coming out of him, and it's not killing him. If I had seen you and 2 or 3 of my buddies shoot something, and it didn't, I'm running. Y'all are on y'all's own, man.
I mean,
I'm not going to keep shooting.
I would be afraid of animals that we know exist. Like, I'm not gonna lie, if I saw like a full-size grizzly bear or polar bear, I would still in the back of my mind be like,
all you had was like pheasant shot?
I hope I get a good shot, because if not, this might turn real bad real fast, you know?
You got bird shot.
That's right.
What
Yeah,
you
you're
shoot
pheasant
in the
hunting.
face? Maybe you get lucky to knock its eyes out. Maybe a pellet gets in there and kills it.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with
But
that.
if not, guess what's going to happen? Bad things to your small body.
Yeah, well, sometimes people have sightings or occurrences that aren't necessarily bad. We have a listener named Scott that emailed the show, and he talks about some strange encounters he had when he was a child with a small human-like figure. Check this out. He says, when I was a child, I had about a dozen encounters with what I will call the little people. But I can only remember 3 of them vividly because most of the encounters were really just me catching a glimpse of these little beings running towards something, then me running after it, only for it to disappear behind a wall or some furniture. Now, if I remember correctly, my first encounter when I was around 9, and I was in my room upstairs drawing something, but decided to go downstairs to get something, and that's when I saw it. It was a small, dark, humanoid figure, only standing about 2 feet tall. It was a humanoid, but it definitely was not human. Its skin was dark gray, its limbs were very skinny, and slightly longer than they should be, and it had a disproportionately large head. It was difficult to make out any other features because it was full on sprinting towards the stairs. But since it was the first time that I was witnessing something so bizarre, it seemed like time slowed down.
I'm not down with anything sprinting.
So it was a running blur of gray, but I was eventually able to make out some key features from some of the other experiences. The weirdest part is that I didn't get an influence that it had something bad, or that I didn't have a sense of malice that one would expect from some small freaky looking creature in your house. So instead of screaming, it ran away, and I just kind of thought, forgot about it. Then I had some other experiences with it. One time I was home alone, and I heard a voice, a disembodied voice calling out to me. Well, I became very scared, and I ran outside of the apartment and decided to wait for my mother to get home, which she did. We went in, and I didn't see anything. Now, the third time that I distinctly remember this creature is I was sitting in the living room, once again at home by myself, reading a book in a chair. That's when I began to get this feeling that something was watching me. So I went back to reading. Slowly, I noticed the curtains moving in the side of the room. I started to focus my sight at those curtains, and that's when I saw it. Just like before, I saw the same small, dark gray creature peeking from behind the curtains. I decided to give chase. Once again, the thing sprinted towards the staircase, and by the time I caught up with it, it was gone. Now, I searched the apartment for over an hour, and I never could find anything. In fact, that was the last time that I saw this being. Now, Scott doesn't know if this was an extraterrestrial, perhaps scoping out the place before deciding to abduct, if it was a demon or something like that. But he did mention that how he didn't want to tell anybody for a while, but he eventually broke down and told his mom and dad, and he thought they would be freaked out by it, but they weren't. They divulged to him that his father had similar strange sightings when he was a kid. And one of his aunts did also and continued up to that day. So it makes you wonder, when it comes to alien abduction, this is common where it kind of follows a family around. Mm-hmm. Like somebody will be abducted, and then later their children will be abducted, and then later their children will be abducted. This is the kind of thing. So I'm wondering if this is what has happened or happening in Scott's family. Is his dad and his aunt were being observed by these little creatures, abducted because they were brother and sister, and now it's moved on to Scott and his family. I don't know. Scott doesn't remember ever recalling seeing any UFOs. He doesn't remember, having any crazy dreams of grays or things in his bedroom, or sleep paralysis, or being operated on a gurney in a strange looking room. No, nothing like that. But he has seen this strange 2-foot tall gray creature with a large head and spindly legs and arms more than once.
Did it say his age whenever he first saw it?
About 9, he said, when he first saw it.
I wonder if it attached itself to him, like through the father. You know what I mean? Like maybe this is another one that came along, and then it's been there ever since he was a child.
He didn't point out that he didn't feel any sense of dread or like it wanted to do him harm. Like it just seemed playful, kind of like a child. I wonder if it's his dad's hybrid child. Oh. That's like his hybrid brother or sister that's coming back to play.
A 2-foot tall sprinting human. Dude, I'm out on the sprinting everything.
Yeah, you told me you have a fear of things running.
I don't mind all the crazy horror stuff like we've always laughed about with the zombies, but if they can sprint, because what ruined it was like all the Dawn of the Deads and Day of the Deads for me when we grew up watching them with Bub. Right. They're slow. Like it's like a slow moving wave of death I can deal with, but this fast running, sprinting,
I'm with you,
murder machines that just want to eat what you're made of, I'm out, man. I'm done with it.
I got you.
Well, I don't want no part of it.
It's stories like these, stories that are sent to us from listeners, stories that we find on the internet.
They even come from the comments on these videos
that
you watch, and y'all leave them below. We find a bunch that way too.
So I think we're going to be doing more stories kind of like that.
Yeah.
And like what we do normally on the show. So hopefully we can figure all this technology out, and we'll be coming up with more and crazier things in the future.
And hopefully y'all enjoy it. So make sure if you're watching this now and you don't already have the notification bell turned on, put the notification bell on. That way you can get all the uploads. You don't miss it. Also, make sure you find us on like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, so you can be able to keep up with when we're going to be releasing the live streams, when they're going to be. And then we'll also start trying to put out some more where we can get your questions answered, either for the live stream or you can send them in and then, of course, go through it that way.
I'm excited.
Basically the same stuff everybody else does, except we're just going to be doing it for our group, our niche, our corner of the world of the strange and unusual. So we hope you enjoyed it. Hope everything works out. Stay tuned. We're going to have a few more things coming up soon, but hopefully within the week, you'll get to see a cool live stream from us, and we hope y'all enjoy it. So I guess that's where we wrap this bad boy up.
Stay safe. Wash your hands, folks.
He's Kyle Filson. I'm Cam Hale. Peace, y'all.